Their journey was for freedom and to stand up against religious persecution.
Our meaning and former practice was and hath been only of such to dwell and inhabit, whether as servants or free men.
If I were in that situation today, would I take the risk to go out and to go to a place that offered me a chance to do and to practice things the way that I believe that they should be done? There's a reward in that, but the risk is so great.
The Pilgrims had to go through dangerous conditions. They intended to set up a colony in Virginia, but their ship went off course.
The Pilgrims traveled 3,125 miles across the icy Atlantic.
Living conditions on the Mayflower were very bad. People getting sick, not enough food or water, and very cramped bed spaces.
People being forced to practice their religion in certain ways, and they couldn't stand it any longer.
And so from the Pilgrims' perspective, it made perfect sense to leave. Here's the problem. I don't think it's a question of right or wrong. I think we need to understand why they left. And they didn't like the church structure. They thought it was too Catholic. Okay? Whether I agree with them or not depends on whether I believe that they have the right path to salvation or not.
Plymouth Rock is the stone upon which the Pilgrims were said to have stepped in 1620.
It weighs 20,000 pounds in its original form.
Plymouth Rock represents the foundational belief that the Pilgrims stood on.
Their feet were firmly planted in the rock of aristocracy, but that rock was needed in the sands or the boulder of the New World.
The Pilgrims, also known as the Separatists, were very poor. Many of them were forced to work difficult jobs all day for very little money. The first of three reasons is because they thought the Church of England was too Catholic.
The second reason is that they had religious restrictions at the time.
The third and last reason is that they tried to avoid religious persecution. The Separatists left England and started a settlement of their own so that they could practice their religion the way they wanted.
What they want is religious freedom for themselves.
They weren't so much worried about religious freedom as much as they were about everyone practicing their religion the way that they did. The Pilgrims didn't only establish our first colony, but they also affected our religious history and how we practice it today. The Mayflower was a merchant ship that landed safely on the shore of Cape Cod, November 11th, 1620. As shown in the map, they started out in Plymouth, England. The Mayflower sailed through the cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean, and they landed safely in Plymouth Rock, Massachusetts. Usually the Mayflower's cargo was wine and dry goods, but this time 102 passengers were on board, all hoping to start a new life in the New World. Not only passengers, but there were dogs, cats, sheep, goats, and chickens on the ship. For the first few months, they lived between the ship and shore while building. Plymouth Colony lasted from 1620 to 1691. It had been previously surveyed by Captain John Smith. The Pilgrims taught us to stand up for our religious beliefs. Without their journey, we may not even have the choice to choose our religion today.